we need to talk about something that's been eating at me since I watched the Indiana Fever dismantle the Phoenix Mercury 107-101. Now, everyone's talking about DeWanna Bonner getting booed, Alyssa Thomas taunting fans, and Ari McDonald dropping 27 points. But there's a deeper story here that nobody wants to address. Caitlin Clark was sitting on that bench, supposedly injured with a groin issue, but her reactions throughout this entire game tell a completely different story. This wasn't just team support, this was calculated, strategic, and honestly, absolutely brilliant. Let me break down exactly what I witnessed, because the more I dig into this, the more convinced I become that Clark orchestrated one of the most sophisticated psychological warfare campaigns we've ever seen in professional basketball. First, let's establish the foundation here. When DeWanna Bonner decided to quit on Indiana mid-season, she wasn't just leaving a team, she was abandoning a culture that Clark was actively building. The official story? Bonner wanted to reunite with her fiancée Alyssa Thomas in Connecticut before eventually landing in Phoenix, but official sources won't tell you this. But if you follow the digital breadcrumbs, a different picture emerges. Clark had been watching everything. Every practice Bonner mailed in, every team meeting where she checked out mentally, every moment where she prioritized her personal situation over the collective mission. Here's what makes this fascinating: Clark's injury timing. She gets hurt right before Bonner's return to Indianapolis. Convenient. It positioned her perfectly to observe from the sidelines while maintaining plausible deniability.
We got to celebrate beating down DeWanna the Scammer Bonner. Cheers, my friend. Cheers, buddy. DeWanna Bonner, I just want to start here. You stink. You stunk it up. You caused all that ruckus. I thought you stopped shooting threes hitting the side of the backboard when you took the Indiana Fever jersey off.
About her reactions being just team support. The temperature of the online conversation suggests something deeper was happening here. Clark knew exactly what this game represented, and she was going to make sure everyone understood the message. When that game started and the boos rained down on Bonner, watch Clark's face. She's not surprised. She's not uncomfortable. She's satisfied. This is exactly what she expected to happen, and she's positioning herself to be the visual representation of team unity. Every time Bonner touched the ball and got booed, Clark was there. Every time Bonner missed a shot, Clark was celebrating like they'd just won a championship. But here's the calculated part. She was celebrating defensive stops, not Bonner's failures specifically. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. She gets to have her cake and eat it too. On the surface, she's just supporting her current teammates, but the optics? She's celebrating every moment of Bonner's professional humiliation while maintaining complete plausible deniability. The digital insider community has been analyzing this frame by frame, and the consensus is clear. Clark knew exactly what message she was sending to her current teammates, to future free agents, to the entire league. The defining moment came when Lexi Hall and Natasha Howard blocked Bonner's shot, leading to a shot clock violation. Watch this sequence carefully.
Bonner battling with Hall. Bonner turns, fades, fires, and leaves it way short. Great defense there by Hall. Copper tracks it down and bounces for Bonner, who had her shot blocked. And it's a shot clock violation. Bonner walled off by Hall, and then blocked at the rim. Indiana has that 5-point lead in third.
Clark jumps up and celebrates like they just won the championship. But look at her body language. This isn't just excitement about good defense. This is vindication. This is proof that the team doesn't need players who don't want to be there. Okay, now let's get into rumor territory. Nothing is officially confirmed, but the online chatter is too loud to ignore. Multiple sources are suggesting that Clark specifically requested to sit on the bench closest to where Bonner would be warming up. She wanted maximum visibility for her reactions. Coincidence? I don't think so. The signals point to Clark understanding exactly how powerful her presence would be. She's the face of the franchise, the reason attendance is up 800%, the player everyone's watching. Her reactions would become the story almost as much as the game itself. Here's where this gets really interesting. Watch how her teammates respond to Clark's energy. Every celebration she makes, they match. Every defensive stop she gets excited about, the entire bench feeds off that energy. She's not just sitting there injured, she's conducting an orchestra of team chemistry that Bonner never experienced when she was in Indiana.
No room for sliding back, okay? We no room for slippage. Every day, there's a sense of urgency. Okay, I was proud of you guys, the way with offensive and defensive substitutions, being ready to go with that. Everybody who came in made an impact. We had 5 in double figures, damn near 7. That's really, really good, y'all. I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of you. Together, 3, 1, 2, 3. Together.
Listen to Stephanie White's post-game comments. That's not accident, that's culture. And Clark's sideline presence was a visual representation of what that culture looks like when everyone's bought in. The contrast couldn't be clearer. While Alyssa Thomas was out there taunting fans and defending her fiancé's poor performance, Clark was demonstrating what championship-level team support actually looks like. But the most calculated part of Clark's performance was how she celebrated Ari McDonald's career-high 27 points. Every bucket McDonald made, Clark was the first one up, the loudest celebration, the most animated reaction. She was sending a message to the entire league. This is what happens when you get players who actually want to be here.
She handled it well. I don't understand, you know, like, she's a legend, and just all the things that she's done for the league, and just the disrespect, I can't get down with it. They booed her. She didn't say a word to the crowd. People talk some trash to her, but you know, we had her back. But it's just very distasteful for what their fan base is doing, as far as when it comes to DB, because it's just like, she's just the sweetest soul, and the situation didn't work for her, and you know, that's just not what she wanted or whatever. But it's just, we don't need all of that. It's just unnecessary.
McDonald wasn't even on the roster at the start of the season. She's playing on the cap space that was freed up when Bonner quit. And Clark is making sure everyone understands that this isn't just addition by subtraction, this is addition by multiplication. The kid dropped 27 points, went perfect from the free throw line, and showed more heart in one game than Bonner displayed in her entire Indiana tenure. And Clark was there to amplify every single moment. That brings us to the inevitable question: was this purely emotional, or was Clark thinking 3 steps ahead about how this would play in the media? The fourth quarter was when Clark's sideline leadership really showed its value. Aliyah Boston went on that incredible 17-point scoring run, and Clark was her biggest cheerleader from the bench.
3-point attempts, and 6 makes for Phoenix from outside the line. Boston, step through, lays it in. You can't stop her. Powers in the paint. We're still playing without Kelsey Mitchell. She's got the 5 fouls. Boston, Cunningham. Yes! And a foul! Sophie Cunningham!
But notice the dynamic here. Clark isn't trying to steal spotlight from Boston's dominant performance. She's amplifying it. She's showing everyone what veteran leadership looks like when it's authentic versus when it's performative. The contrast with how Thomas was handling the situation couldn't be more obvious. While Thomas was out there arguing with fans and defending failure, Clark was celebrating excellence and building her teammates up. This is calculated emotional intelligence at its finest. Clark knew that her reactions would become part of the story, so she made sure those reactions reinforced exactly the narrative she wanted. Indiana is better without players who don't want to be there. The post-game reactions revealed just how well Clark's strategy worked. When asked about the whole Bonner situation, Aliyah Boston kept it short and sweet.
Bonner returned to Indiana, and what were your thoughts on the fan reception tonight?
Honestly, that got nothing to do with me. I think DB returned because we were playing Phoenix, and so that happened to be that. The fans just do what they wanted to do, but for us it's about paying attention to what we have to do here, and that was coming in and getting a big win, which we were able to do.
That's not accident. That's Clark's influence showing up in how the entire organization handles adversity. Stay focused, stay classy, let the work speak for itself. Meanwhile, Kalia Copper was out there complaining about distasteful fan behavior, completely missing the point that fans have every right to express their feelings about players who quit on their team.
3-point attempts, and 6 makes for Phoenix from outside the line. Boston, step through, lays it in. You can't stop her. Powers in the paint. We're still playing without Kelsey Mitchell. She's got the 5 fouls. Boston, Cunningham. Yes! And a foul! Sophie Cunningham!
The temperature of the online conversation suggests Clark's approach resonated with both media and fans. She managed to be present for Bonner's professional humiliation without getting her hands dirty, while simultaneously demonstrating what real leadership looks like. But here's the most calculated part of Clark's entire performance. She was thinking beyond this one game. Every celebration, every reaction, every moment of visible team chemistry was building towards something bigger. The Fever are now 15-12, 3 games above 500 for the first time since 2015. They're sitting in 6th place with legitimate playoff aspirations. And Clark's sideline presence during this victory was a masterclass in how superstars can impact winning even when they're not on the court. She was showing free agents what this culture looks like. She was showing her current teammates what loyalty means. She was showing the entire league that Indiana is building something special, and players who don't want to be part of it will be replaced by players who do. The Ari McDonald signing proves that point perfectly. The kid came in, bought into the culture, and immediately contributed at a higher level than the player she replaced. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Alyssa Thomas was out there actively taunting Fever fans throughout the entire game, defending her fiancé against the boos, and trying to create some kind of power dynamic. But Clark's response was perfect. She didn't engage with the drama. She didn't get pulled into the relationship subplot. She stayed focused on supporting her teammates and celebrating their success. That's championship-level emotional maturity. While Thomas was getting caught up in personal feelings and defensive reactions, Clark was demonstrating what professional focus actually looks like. The contrast between their approaches tells you everything about organizational culture. Phoenix has players defending poor performance and getting into arguments with fans. Indiana has players celebrating excellence and staying focused on the mission. Let's talk facts for a moment. McDonald, 27 points. Perfect from the free throw line, career high performance. The replacement theory isn't theory anymore, it's statistical reality. And Clark's sideline reactions were making sure everyone understood that this wasn't luck or coincidence. This was what happens when you prioritize culture over individual talent. Boston's 17-point fourth quarter sealed the deal. The Fever proved they could win big games without their superstar on the floor, and Clark's visible leadership from the bench was a huge part of that success. This wasn't just about one game. This was about proving that the Fever have built something sustainable, something that goes beyond any individual player. Here's what makes Clark's calculated approach so brilliant. She's setting precedent for how this organization handles adversity. When players quit, they get replaced by players who want to be there. When former players return, the focus stays on current team success. No drama, no personal attacks, no getting pulled into relationship dynamics. Just professional excellence and team-first mentality. The message to future free agents is clear. Indiana is building championship culture, and if you're not all in, there are players who will be. The Ari McDonald signing and immediate impact proves that point. The Fever didn't need to overpay for talent. They found hungry players who bought into what they're building. Stephanie White's handling of the post-game questions showed perfect alignment with Clark's approach.
About being happy for DeWanna Bonner, finding a good spot for her. What was your overall thoughts on having her there in the reception tonight?
Yeah, I don't know anything about the reception. I don't hear anything once I'm out on the floor, but it's weird seeing her on the other side. But at the end of the day, basketball is basketball and relationships are relationships.
Classy, professional, focused on basketball rather than drama. That's the culture Clark was amplifying with her sideline presence. Meanwhile, the Mercury had players complaining about fan behavior and defending poor performance. The organizational culture gap couldn't be more obvious. The beauty of Clark's approach was how it operated on multiple levels simultaneously. To casual observers, she was just supporting her teammates. To insiders who understand the dynamics, she was conducting a masterclass in strategic messaging. Every celebration sent signals to current teammates. This is what loyalty looks like. To potential free agents, this is the culture we're building. To former players, this is what you walked away from. To the league, Indiana is for real. And she did it all while maintaining complete plausible deniability. Brilliant strategic thinking disguised as team support. The digital conversation around Clark's sideline reactions became almost as big as the game itself. Clips of her celebrating defensive stops went viral. Her animated responses to McDonald's scoring became memes, and her visible team chemistry became evidence of championship culture. She understood that in 2025, your reactions become content, your body language becomes messaging, your presence tells a story whether you intend it to or not, so Clark made sure the story being told was exactly the one she wanted. Indiana has moved on, gotten better, and built something special. But this goes deeper than one game or one former teammate. Clark's sideline performance was about establishing precedent for how this organization operates. When adversity comes, and it will come, the Fever have a blueprint for how to handle it. Stay focused, support your teammates, let excellence speak for itself, and don't get pulled into drama. That's championship-level organizational thinking, and Clark was demonstrating it in real time while sitting on the bench with an injury. The final score, 107-101, tells the immediate story, but Clark's calculated sideline presence told the bigger story. The Indiana Fever have built something that transcends any individual player. When their superstar is injured, they find ways to win. When former players return, they stay focused on current success. When drama presents itself, they rise above it. That's not accident, that's culture. And Clark's performance from the bench was a masterclass in how superstars can build that culture even when they're not actively playing. The message to the entire league is clear. Indiana is for real, and if you're not all in, there are hungry players who will be. So was Caitlin Clark's sideline performance calculated? Absolutely. Was it authentic? Also absolutely. The two aren't mutually exclusive when you're building championship culture. She understood that her presence and reactions would become part of the story, so she made sure those reactions reinforced exactly the message she wanted to send. DeWanna Bonner walked back into Gainbridge Fieldhouse thinking she'd left behind a struggling organization. Instead, she found a championship-caliber culture that had moved on, gotten better, and built something special without her. And Caitlin Clark made sure everyone understood that message, one calculated celebration at a time. That's what separates good players from superstars. The ability to impact winning, even when you're not on the court. Clark demonstrated that in spectacular fashion, and the entire league took notice. The temperature of the online conversation suggests this was just the beginning. The Fever are building something special, and Clark's strategic leadership, even from the bench, is a huge part of that success. Sometimes the most powerful moves happen when you're not even playing. Caitlin Clark just proved that point in the most calculated, brilliant way possible.